Think about this for a second as you pay your taxes this year. Illegals could be getting a refund even if they've never paid a penny in taxes. Don't take my word for it. Here's the IRS commissioner getting grilled on Capitol Hill about illegals cashing in on our dime.
You would get the earned income tax credit automatically whether you were working or not.
So it will be available to everyone who was working even if they didn't file in the previous 3 years?
That is my understanding, yes.
And you have no idea how much this is going to cost?
I don't know how many people are going to get Social Security numbers, how many will be
True,
single.
but we do this all the time. Did the White House not ask you to estimate that?
I haven't talked to the White House about this at all.
Wayne, makes my head explode. Yours?
Jerry, it's beyond me. How can you get a tax refund if you've never paid a tax in the first place? I mean, by definition. Yes, if it's a tax refund, you haven't paid a tax in the first place, you can't get it. This is idiotic. This is the federal government totally out of control again. All of those guys ought to go home. They ought to fire everybody and start all over. It's a bad law. It's a bad thing.
Ainsley, I can understand if they had paid taxes and it's a credit to the taxes that they've already paid or will accrue going forward. But we checked this with our brain room. We went to the IRS and no, apparently you cannot have ever paid a dime in taxes. File, get your tax ID number, file, and then get a check back.
It's ridiculous. To Wayne's point, he's right. By definition, this is not a refund. Let's call it what it is. It's free money. It's not a refund. You can't get a refund if you've never put into the system. All of us have paid our taxes. I'm hoping for a refund this year because maybe I've paid too much in taxes. These are people who are going to get money back that haven't paid a dime.
Yeah, handout. Jess, now you point out it's not 100% of them aren't that, but they still could fall under that category.
They could fall under this category, but we also, I think, need to think about the people who have been paying taxes and the American government has been taking their money and that they should then be able to file for back credit. I mean, there are a lot of hardworking people in this country who have been granted amnesty under Obama's executive action who I think are due some money from what they've been paying to our government, even when they haven't been given the rights and privileges of being Americans.
Jonathan, go. You want to jump
in? Sure. I mean, I think the GOP conservatives use, tax fraud and Ebola and terrorism essentially as a red herring against immigration. The problem is not the immigrants. The problem is the entitlements and the taxes. I mean, to the point, the Earned Income Tax Credit is essentially a subsidy for poor people with kids. You know what? It attracts moochers, both foreign and American. Even before this rule was passed, Eric, 25% of the Earned Income Tax Credit was fraudulent. 25%. That's about $15 billion a year. My proposal is don't get rid of immigrants, get rid of redistribution, and make this country free once again.
Very quickly, and the way the system works is you can have paid no zero taxes and qualify for that, what Jonathan points out, the Earned Income Tax Credit and get the check back. Wayne, they could have outlined it and said you'll get a tax credit towards further taxes you may accrue going forward, but instead they said, here, illegals, here's a handout, here's a check.
Yeah, it's like saying to you, hey, you didn't pay any taxes, but you can dip into my taxes and get a refund. Where does this come out? Where is this fair? By the way, you also get a Social Security number out of this, and that entitles you to a lot of things. This law is just insane.
Go ahead, John.
Well, once again, I'm going to make the point. This happens both Americans as well as foreigners. So the answer isn't to try to restrict or, laws beget laws, controls beget controls. Just get rid of the distribution, get rid of the entitlements, and that's the only moral way to approach issues like these.
My final thought is that I think really what we need is we need more clarity from the administration about what all of these laws actually mean. I mean, we need a reform of the tax code, but frankly, we shouldn't have, people testifying on Capitol Hill and finding out things that we should have known from the get-go.
Exactly. It feels like they don't even know. It feels like they're just making this up as they go along.